Hey all, this Sulfat here, giving you another Augmentation POV, also a floor POV, of the last boss of the new raid near our palace. This is Queen Ansurek on Heroic. We were able to get World 8th, which is pretty cool. It's a fun fight. I did die in P1, so gonna be a bit sketchy, but actually a pretty good POV to see everything, so be able to call out a lot of stuff. Alright, let's get into it. So the main difference in P1 here is how the jump rope mechanic works. That being where you have the green puddle that somebody drops and they go into the center of it to jump rope the team over the poison nova. On Heroic, there are two of those puddles, and your raid needs to be evenly distributed between those two puddles, or else you take a significant amount of damage. So you can see we had essentially a melee puddle and a range puddle, and we tried to split the raid as evenly as we could between those two. And then once the cast of the wave gets down to the end here, we have designated poppers to jump us over the nova. On Heroic, you need 6 designated people, 1 per circle, and the nova happens 3 times, so that is 2 times 3 is 6. So you need 6 designated people to do that. Otherwise, it's essentially normal. You're just moving the raid along when she casts the green stuff on the ground, and then you're stacking up here for the Silken Tomb. Little Aug stuff. You can save upheaval there for some big pad. Otherwise, that's about it for P1 here. You're kind of just managing the space and managing the debuffs that you get from these little green circles here. If you can figure that out, this and the first intermission are by far the hardest part of the fight. So if you're able to get this dance down, you'll kill the boss pretty quickly. We were able to kill it in 12 pulls, which is pretty good. I think most guilds are taking somewhere between 25 and 40, so not too bad. So my big mistake that I made that caused me to die, I had a good old jump off the edge of the platform moment, so don't do that, but they were able to kill it without me. I ended up staying dead, and they used a Battle Res for a healer, which was the right call, so I'll still go over the rest of the fight though, because again, I had a pretty good POV being on the floor the whole time. So this is the third set of the jump rope novas. The last set, phase 1, is on a timer, so you do want to lust on pull because your damage in this phase is determines how quickly you'll get out of P3. Yeah, so my big mistake here was I tried to make this squeeze past the blue nova there, and yeah, went for a bit of a dive. Don't try and be a hero there, which is what I kind of tried to do. You can see we have all the space in the world. I did not need to try and optimize it that much. So in the intermission, you see these little circles around each player. You don't want to be stacking on each other because it does ticking damage. So if you're stacked, you're taking double the damage. As well as that, there are more of these waves coming out that you need to dodge, and then you get dragged in. The drag is very aggressive, so you don't want to greet it. Just go out and make sure you don't get dragged into a wave, and you're good. You should be able to clear the intermission before the third drag. I would also recommend saving 2 minutes for that intermission. It happens at about 2:30, so yeah, you just save 2 minutes. I think we had everybody besides our warriors save 2 minutes. Then on the P2 range, are going to be baiting these little puddles here that shoot out the orbs. So just make sure you're kind of out of where the ads are being tanked, so you're not instantly clipping the melee with them. Then we're going to go to the staircase. So these mobs in the dungeon journal, the tooltip says they're supposed to be immune when they are tanked on top of each other, but that wasn't working for whatever reason. So I don't know if that's a bug or whatnot, but they were able to be tanked on top of each other for us, so that's good. If you click the 2 bridge pylons as soon as possible, you'll skip a grip, so ideally you want to do that. And then, yeah, you're nuking down the worshipper here before the cosmic apocalypse goes out. That is your priority on the second platform. So I was secondary calling and our raid leader was on the other platform, and I think it was helpful to call out which group was getting pulled in. So I was a part of group 1, and whenever the pull was going, I'd say group 1 getting pulled, so our raiders had plenty of time to get to the back of the platform and not get pulled off. A bit of healer stuff. There's a dispel mechanic here that's different than normal. You need to dispel people, obviously that's a dispel mechanic, and it does group-wide AoE for a pretty sizable chunk of people's health. It's a good like 50% chunk. So make sure you're managing people's health and the dispels properly and not comboing it with the pull-in. Alright, and now we are up to P3. You have plenty of time to get here, so honestly it's not too crazy of a check. There are reports of people having to hold CDs for some of these platforms, but we didn't really do that, and it ended up working out. I mean, we killed this boss with essentially 2 DPS dead for all of P3, and more will die later. Alright, P3. Trying to think if there's any major changes from normal to heroic. You get little pylons that drag you to them, and you need to kill them, and that's about it. So these little ads die, they need to be CC'd and nuked down. They drop puddles when they die, so you want to make sure that they're grouped up. These 2 royal condemnations, that's what drops the pylons that group you in that I was talking about. Be smart to pop a personal or like a Zephyr there to reduce damage, and you just kill them down and stop people from getting dragged. The Abyssal Infusion, that is like Zymox from Sepulchre, so you have our mage there is on the inside and our hunter went to the outside, so that when the wave, this frothing gluttony, comes out, you can take the inside one on the outside of the wave, as you'll see them doing here. The animation is wider than it seems, so you kind of want to wait longer. You can see our Mistweaver there, he went a little bit early and he got hit by the wave just on the tail end of it. And then you kind of just move the boss along and keep going. You might have to optimize space. I imagine on Mythic will need to be more optimal with their space here, but ended up working out. Another set of ads here, those are always priority, so they got nuked down. And then the next set of pylons came out. And then the next heroic change is there's going to be 3 spiders that come dangling down from the center. Queen summons. They have a shield on them. They cannot be interrupted while the shield is up. So there's a lot of front-loaded damage until the shield is broken. So you see that middle one, the shield was broken and they could kick it, but the 2 outer ones, they were not kickable yet. So they're just doing unavoidable damage during that time. So those are big priority. You want to make sure as little of those null detonations get off as possible. Then once they're dead, you're just repeating the mechanics from the phase. You have the Zymox portals. We're gonna get the small spiders here soon. Right here, we're kind of debating what the call should be. Should we focus boss? Should we focus ads? We ended up focusing the small spiders that spawned, but the second set of big spiders in the middle that spawned, we ignored them and nuked down the boss. Things were starting to get a bit hairy here. We have about a third of our raid dead at this point, so it's starting to slow down. This is the last set of small spiders that we're getting. It's worth noting, according to my tanks, they were getting absolutely trucked on this fight, so just keep that in mind. It's probably going to hurt a significantly, more significantly than any other bosses that you guys have faced so far. But yeah, that's about it. Queen Ansurek, it's a super fun fight, much more engaging than the past end bosses we've had, at least in Heroic. We'll see how it ends up being in Mythic, but feels like it's going to be a banger of a tier. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below, and you can check out Mythic Prog at twitch.tv/soulfattv. Until next time.